Okay, so last class we talked about the like how to run cross-sectional data using the World Bank dataset, right? Most of you guys have seen that there are 67 databases in the World Bank, right? We have downloaded them in Excel format, then imported them in Stata, right? And imported the variables. Then we have cleaned it using the replace function, right? Like replacing the double dots. Because in the World Bank dataset, the double dots means missing values. But Stata cannot read double dots, so we have to clean it and make it appear as single dot. So we use the replace function, right? And we sort of clean the data, and then we destring the data, right? Because without destringing, you cannot run a regression. Okay, if it is in string form, Stata will not understand that if the data is numeric or not, right? And you guys also have seen the encode function, right? So we today we will also do a similar thing. So before doing that, I have actually shared a do file for like today's class. It contains the panel data as well as how to run an instrument variable in a panel data. Okay, these are more advanced level, like the instrument variable not used in the undergrads, but the panel data you guys will be using like especially in your senior years, right? And I have shared my paper, the presentation slides, if you guys want to look at it, like how a paper is written, like there are some tips, and as also how to do the citation. Okay, today we will also look at the Google Scholar, like how to effectively use the Google Scholar, right? So let's go to the World Bank dataset, just like the last class, right? So I will show you guys how to download the World Bank dataset. So World Bank in panel form, right? Is it visible to everyone? So go to dataworldbank.org, all of you. Click on Data Bank. Okay, Data Bank on top. You can actually see it in here, and then we just click like GDP growth to go into the data set, right? So all of you guys have clicked the GDP growth and have come to the data set. So in the database section, click on the database section, select health, nutrition and population statistics. Okay, so we have selected the health, nutrition and from the there are 67 databases, as I have said, and more than 10,000 variables. Okay, you guys can write multiple papers. You can do cross section, you can do panel, you can do like instrumental variable technique. So health, nutrition and population statistics, okay, in the name of the database. Then in country we have 259 countries. So let's just select, instead of list, click region. Okay, click on the filter function, and then after clicking on the filter function, change from list to region. All right, all of you guys followed that. After clicking the filter function, choose region, and from the region let's select Europe and Central Asia. Let's also select Middle East and North Africa. Let's select South Asia. We are ignoring North America and the Latin American countries. Also select Sub-Saharan Africa and East Asia and Pacific. Okay, so this data set we are selecting East Asia, Europe, Middle East and North Africa, South Asia, and Sub-Saharan Africa. Okay, I did not include any Latin American countries or any North American countries like United States, Canada. So I'm just excluding all the American countries, like both North and South. Okay, so it's basically on the 5 regions I want to analyze. Okay, so after you have selected these 5 regions, click the checkbox, select all. So from these 5 regions, how many countries do you have? Michael, from these 5 countries on your data set, 172, right? Yes, 172 countries. Because we selected only 5 regions. If we selected like all 7 regions, we would have got 269 countries, right? Or so we have 172 countries in our data set. So that's a lot of observations, right? So 172. I will tell you why I am increasing the number of countries. Okay. For panel, don't just take 10, 20, 30 countries. It's a good idea to take as many countries as possible. So 172 countries. And the time frame, if you take more, like let's say 10 years, how many observations will we have? Like 1720, right? To run a balanced panel, we at least need this number to be at least 400. Okay, so if you take 10 countries, then you have to take 40 years of time series. But 40 years of time series won't make any sense, right? Because what is 10 years ago may not be similar like 30 or 40 years ago. So instead, I just increase the country number, so I have to choose a lower time year, right? So the multiplication of the number of observations should be at least 400 to run a balanced panel. Okay, this is from an empirical finding. Okay, this is not the rule of thumb, but generally that's what is observed. Okay, then it's more balanced. It could be that even with 200 it can be balanced, but if the number is more than 400, the likelihood of being more balanced is higher. Okay, so obviously you guys should choose like a larger number of countries for a panel data. Okay. So have you selected? And now we will also choose the variable list from the series. Okay. So let's go back to the series. How many variables do you have in the series? 360, right? In the World Bank data set, in the health and nutrition studies, right? So out of 360 series, let's select let's select health expenditure total as percentage of GDP. Okay, health expenditure total as percentage of GDP. Let's also select improved water source as percentage of population with access, right? So improved water source percentage of population with access. Let's look at few more stuffs. Okay, we should also select prevalence of overweight, and uh, we want female adults and male adults like last time, right? It's the prevalence of overweight will give a indicator for your body mass index, right? Like if they have a, we should also select male adults and female adults, both variables. We should also select smoking prevalence female, percentage of adults, smoking prevalence males, percentage of adults. Okay, so we have selected 6 variables so far. There is something also alcohol consumption, but let's just use the smoking for the time being, right? And let's see what other variables would. Also select the fertility rate, total births per woman. Okay, so there is also a fertility rate here.
Is it wanted fertility rate?
No. Birth per woman. Its fertility rate starts with F. The variable name starts with F. I'm also trying to see the public investment. Okay, anyways, so we have selected 7 variables, right? All of you guys have 7 variables. If you look at your list, in the series, this saying selected, it's 7. It should be 7, right? All of you guys got 7? As percentage of GDP, total health expenditure as percentage of GDP. So go to H, the variable name starts with H, right? Percentage of GDP, total. No, it's the total. We don't just want to analyze public or it's like total percentage of GDP. Okay, so we have prevalence of smoking, male, female, adults. We have prevalence of overweight, male and female. We have health expenditure. We have fertility rate, and what's the other one? It's the access to let's see, improved water source, right? Percentage of population with access. So we have 7 variables in our series. Okay, now year, go to year, and we will select view recent years, click 10. If you click years, there will be like view recent years. So when you click 10, it will only show the 16 variables, the not 16, the recent 10 variables from the data set. So it's already selected when you select 10, right? And so now the panel is ready. Before creating the panel, we have to also go to the layout function. Layout of the, not layout, let's see. Yes, go to layout, click custom, right? Like the orientation is popular and custom, so we will select the custom orientation. Okay, now the countries, so now the years should be in row form because it's a panel form. Okay, previously in cross section we kept the years as page, right? But now because it's a panel, we need the years in row format. Okay, so let me show you guys how it should be. So the years should be in rows, like it's 2000, 2005, let's say this is 2010. So now the years have to be arranged in row form. Okay, the countries also should be in row form, because let's say this is country A, let's say country, and let's say the name of the country is China. So it should also be aligned in row form. Okay, and lastly the series, the variables you can put it in column form, like this is total health expenditure, this could be like prevalence of female smoking or prevalence of male smoking, right? So series means the variable list, so the variable list is in column form. So the combination should be row column. Okay, RRC. Okay, now click apply changes. And go to download options. Okay, click Excel. It should download for you, and for those like in our computer labs we have to save the file. Alright, so save it in the document file that you want the file to be in. Alright, all of you guys save the file in I would prefer if you guys save it into the documents folder. Alright, all of you guys saved it. Okay, now let's just open the Excel file. Okay, just to take a look at it, like how the data is arranged. Alright, so countries are in rows, the years are also in rows. If you go down, you will see that from 2007 it becomes 2008. If you go down further, it becomes 2009. So the years are in row form, right? So that's perfectly fine. In fact, that's really good. And all the variables are also in column form, like health expenditure, improved water source, prevalence of smoking, fertility rate, all of them are in column form, right? So if you guys got it in that form, then it's the correct way we can import the data right now, right? So now let's go to Stata. Okay, you guys know how to import it. So click File, click Import, and then Excel spreadsheet, click Browse, select the location. For you guys, it should be in the My Documents folder, because I told you guys to save it in My Documents. For me, it's the Downloads folder. Okay, and we should click Import first row as variable names. Okay, so like put a check on the checkbox for import first row as variable names, and then press OK. Okay, so all of you guys should put a check on the checkbox. And click first row. Yeah. So now let's look go to the like data set. So if you press in Stata, if we have to go to the like we want to see the data, we type BR in the command prompt. So type BR means browse, and when you press enter, now if you look at the data set again, there is a problem because there are double dots, right? So we first need to clean the data of double dots. Okay, so in 2007, the year, if you look at the screen, let me just in 2007, if all of you guys look at the screen, in 2007, if we go to the smoking variable, what's happening? Like, why are all these double dots here? Like, those are missing values, right? So that means in 2007, World Bank did not collect the information regarding smoking. That's why those are missing values. Now let's look at 2008. Let's go down further. In 2008 also there are no information of the smoking variables, right? All of them are missing. So let's go to 2009. 2009 as well as missing. 2010. 2010 we have some of them have some information, right? And 2011 no values, right? 2012 some information. So we have information for smoking in 2010 and 2012, right? Let's look at 13. Nothing, right? Okay, what about 14? 14 also nothing. 15, there's information. So they have 15, they have information. What about 16, the last one? 16, 16 I think they have. Oh, 16 they don't have, right? So only they have information for 3 years. Even though we selected for 10 years, effectively they have information for 3 years. So now what's the magic number? 172 countries. Although we have taken information for 10 years, because the data set have only information for 3 years, it's 172 times 3. So that's close like 516. Right? So still it's greater than 400, right? That's why we need to take as many years as possible as well as many countries as possible, because once it is more than 400, it is more likely to become balanced in a panel data. Now do you guys understand why we have chosen so many countries? If I started with 40 countries, 40 times 3 is 120. Then I won't have like enough observations in the data set. Like, how will I interpret? What if it's not balanced? Because it's a small number of observations, right? Okay, so these data are all macroeconomic data. These are not microeconomic data, okay? So these are not individual person. These are all individual, not individual, but these are countries. So these are aggregate level data, all right? In real life, you guys might have to use individuals, like if you do like a survey data set, right? And if you recall, we also had a complex survey design session. Like I took a Stata class. I showed you guys how to use the complex survey design, right? If you guys recall. So when we do like individual surveys, like they could have 15,000 individuals, 20,000 individuals, you have to use the complex survey design, all right? And over there, we can also do a panel, we can also do cross section, okay? In certain cases, cross section will not work, and in that case, like I mentioned last class, that cross section won't work if your data set is not homoscedastic. That means if it is heteroscedastic, what is heteroscedasticity? When the variance is like, it's varying with time. so time varying is like a heteroscedastic, like it's not constant. Then we cannot use cross section. We have to use panel. Okay. How do we test if your cross sectional data is not heteroscedastic? In Stata, there's a command called head test. So when you type head test of that, it will tell you whether it's heteroscedastic or homoscedastic. So if you are lazy and you just want to run a cross section data, you don't want to run a panel, before running a cross section, check the head test. If the head test said that these are heteroscedastic and not homoscedastic, you can't do a cross section. Okay, don't just run any regression and write a paper and submit it to me. Then I will know that you guys don't have the methodology or the concept, because that's the assumption number 5, right? There are 5 assumptions for a simple linear regression. Okay, so I will add on to this later, like when I going to like discuss in next class, the theory behind it. And in fact, we are doing the panel data in applied form first, okay, because you guys don't have the theory right now. But it's a good idea to see it first, and maybe then when I teach the theory, you guys will catch it instantly, right? So I like the approach that I want to show you guys in applied form first, okay, like how it's working and not. Okay. So the panel data is kind of like it's set in a. So let's first remove all the double dots, right? So you have to do for all these 7 variables. It's kind of painful, but if you go back to the do file, the first do file I have uploaded, but let's first replace the dots. All right, so for all these 7 variables, so replace health expenditure total of, okay, before cleaning, okay, I want to give my like some insights. These variable names are really big, right? The total health expenditure of, or like improve water source of population, and now typing them is a very, like it's messy. So let's first rename the variables in simplified form. So type rename, click health expenditure total of, then give a space and rename it as THE, right? So first let's rename all the 7 variables. So rename, click the health expenditure total of, yes, and then THE, space THE, yes. If you observe, your variable name has changed, right? Yes, so you can put whatever you want, but rename it as smaller names. Don't make it like 10 sentences, like then it defeats the purpose of simplifying. So that's THE. So rename improved water source as water. Okay. Then rename prevalence of smoking of female. Let's PFS. Then rename prevalence of male smoking as PMS. Rename smoking. I again made the same mistake, like its prevalence of overweight should be POW. So POM is the prevalence of overweight for male. Smoking prevalence, PFS, rename males PMS, rename fertility rate as FRT, right? Let me just